the storefront, it's like we talked about before, eliminating that barrier to purchase. Anything you can do, whether it's a one-step checkout, one-click buy, anything you can do to really make it so that the user can just purchase easily and remove that resistance is going to be a benefit to you and your store.
Welcome to the Marketing Automation Hustle podcast, where we break down the essential strategies of email marketing and automation to help e-commerce brands hyper-personalize their customer journey and increase sales on autopilot. So get ready to automate your marketing like a pro with Sendlane's brand marketing manager and your host, Caitlin Hutchinson.
Hey podcast listeners, I hope you're having a great week and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Marketing Automation Hustle. I want to be sure to remind you guys that we just launched our brand new online course, eCommerce Email Academy. It's an awesome course. It's basically an ultimate step-by-step email marketing course for e-commerce marketers. We've put together 57 video lessons, 10 course modules, plus a full stack bonus module, including expert interviews, case studies, checklists. There's a variety of stuff in there. It's really awesome and jam-packed with value. And you can enroll in that course or just get an overview of everything that's in it at ecomemailacademy.com/podcast. That's ecomemailacademy.com/podcast. So I'm really looking forward to today's episode because we'll really be diving into anything and everything related to your website, your online branding, your user experience that you create for your website visitors, and everything in between. So, your website's basically the backbone of your business. It supports all of your different digital marketing efforts. And so I think this will be a really excellent topic for us to focus on today. And for that reason, my guest today is Rich Rudzinski. He's the founder and CEO of the digital agency Tragic Media. And of course, they're here in San Diego. They focus on delivering cutting-edge websites, complex web applications, and custom management portals. They create gorgeous, scalable solutions that are out-of-the-box thinking, and they have a team of top-notch experts in user experience, visual design, and build quality. So with that hefty intro for you, Rich, welcome back to Sendlane.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm
so
nice
excited
to have
be
you
here.
here.
Yeah.
We actually had Rich here a few weeks back for a special project we'll be releasing next year, but it was really awesome. So it was nice to get to kind of know you and have you in the office for a full day. So it's, way more comfortable. We already know each other.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love Sendlane. You guys are my favorite San Diego startup. So I'm excited to be here.
Wow. That means so much to us. We got to keep, our little San Diego community tight knit. And
definitely.
I love how many companies are right here in San Diego.
Yeah. Growing.
Yeah. And it makes
really
it,
cool.
Easy for me to get people in the studio on the podcast.
Totally.
So tell us a little bit about Tragic Media. First of all, I love the name.
Thank you.
It's awesome. I love the logo.
Thank you.
It's very you.
It is very
I
me.
would say. How'd you kind of come up with Tragic Media? The name, the company, where did this whole idea of your agency kind of stem from?
Sure. So the name is kind of a funny story, or it's kind of like a chicken and the egg thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's actually from college. It was just the name I came up for, like my digital portfolio for my media and art. During my studies there. And then it evolved into my web portfolio when I started doing consulting out of college.
Okay.
And then when I left one of the big digital agencies down here and started doing consulting more full time, it was just the natural thing to go with. However, we really earned the name and maybe it's the name that attracted the projects that we get, but we have a tendency to really get problematic projects that are on fire, or really complex projects where people having a hard time finding people to properly build them.
Oh, okay, gotcha. It makes sense because it really stands out. Like the name really catches your eye, and the logo. I think it's very different than a lot of other agencies.
Which is definitely, my approach. We're very different than a lot of other agencies.
Even your website, you've got an awesome website, which as you should, since that's a huge part of what you guys do.
Definitely.
Your website's awesome. I highly recommend you guys check out Tragic Media's website while you're at it and just appreciate the effort that went into that website. So what kind of services are you providing to the companies that you work with? Like what's your kind of your sole focus for each brand that you work with, or does it kind of vary here and there?
Totally varies. We're really big on having very adaptive process and very adaptable teams because we work sometimes with large internal teams. Sometimes we collaborate with other agencies. So we need to adapt what roles we fill depending on what we're building, what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay, so you do a lot of website build, and I see a lot about user experience on your website.
Yeah.
As I was going through it, it felt like that was coming up a lot. So I
Yeah,
wanted
definitely.
to dive into that a little bit. Why is that something that you guys kind of keep honing in on? Is that whole idea of your user experience?
Well, it's very important. It's of growing importance, and especially with the work that we do, when you're building more complicated, web applications and more complicated user experiences. You have to really think through, how a user is going to use the application, what their tendencies are going to be based on the user group that you're using, or that your customers are. The demographic, the age, the area, the language, even that can really adapt and change. How you want to approach, the design of your application, and. It's more than just making it pretty. It needs to be usable first, and then we can work on making it pretty. So that's really, I feel like, where we also differentiate besides the build quality and our technical expertise is in building those more complicated user experiences and thinking through, well, how does this have to work with all these different, steps, maybe for product flow or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as just, one check by and you're done, type thing.
Totally. So what kind of companies are you guys working with? Do you have, what kind of brands are in your portfolio? I kind of looked on your website, but if you could give us a little bit of insight into some, some of your bigger projects with brands you work with.
Yeah, it's really wide range. A lot of other agencies verticalize around certain industries because they're more marketing focused, so they have to really understand that. We partner with internal marketing teams or outside marketing organizations, so we're very wide industry experience. So we've done everything from building really deep internal financial applications for companies and working with their engineering teams to modernize, their user experience and their front end applications.
Okay.
To working with larger organizations to build intranets. We're working right now with Welk Resorts on a couple exciting projects, which is a local brand down here in San Diego. We're building some user portals for them, working collaboratively with their team. And on this more recent project, we're going to be working with Red Door Interactive. So they're handling the design and strategy, and we're doing all the implementation for them.
Oh, awesome. So you do have it sounds like you have a really heavy focus on the web application side.
Yeah, that's definitely more of what we do than just build websites.
Yeah.
Though, we work with Skybound Entertainment as one of our exciting new clients, and a lot of what we do is help support and grow their WordPress website. But also we're building deeper user applications. So a lot of what we do is build user experiences that are more management, more about, controlling, totally losing.
No, it's okay. No, you're fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense because, with the way technology is going, it's even here at Sendlane, we have to constantly update things and keep things fresh and new. Everything from just our corporate website to our actual application, it's constantly changing. And it's one of those things where it's it's great now, but 3 months from now, it's going to need to be updated because we're going to hate it.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be outdated.
Right.
And so I think that's something really unique that you guys bring, because I think when you hear agency, you're thinking oh, well, they run, paid media or email marketing or
totally.
whatever those digital marketing services are. But you guys really specialize in website build, web application, and it sounds like the development side of everything.
Yeah, it's more on the technology end. And a lot of also how we differentiate is even other software agencies, they build products, they build projects with you, they engage you during, with their process that costs a certain amount, certain timeline, whatever.
Totally.
We're more about long-term partnerships with our clients, and we scale up and down depending on what their needs are. So a lot of them, have big initiatives. They want to get a bunch of stuff done before the end of the year. We have to ramp up, get all their things done, and then we scale back and just move into more of a support mode where we're helping them grow. And like you said, so much of software development right now is about iterative growth.
Yeah,
it's not about, the whole launch it and let it set it and be done.
That never works.
That died a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now it has to be a constant evolution. And that's also how we work with a lot of different size brands because it's it's based on like where you want to go in the future, where you want to go at launch, and what is your budget.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of build a plan around that. And a lot of our clients, are very small, and we just iterate with them slowly over the course of a year or two to build really great, really complex products.
Yeah.
That could, would have cost a lot up front, but it doesn't have to, because of the way that you can kind of approach software.
So that's nice because it's totally attainable regardless of the size.
Yeah,
of your
we
company.
work with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of small businesses, and a lot of big brands, and we can scale our process accordingly.
That's awesome. So have you guys had any experience with any e-commerce brands?
Of course, we've done e-commerce for a very long time.
So what's kind of been your experience kind of seeing the evolution of the e-commerce store and the user experience? Because, we're all online shopping constantly, and it is really interesting to just see how that whole flow of user experience, just from going from, browsing products on a website to the actual checkout process.
Right.
It's so one click now, and it didn't used to be that way.
No, and now even like just it's integrated with social, so it's even more so. So you don't even leave to go into a new platform; it's just all in one experience.
Yeah,
and that's the biggest piece of e-commerce is like removing that resistance because you want to just let users act on their impulse.
Yeah.
Because that's the easiest way to get that purchase.
Yes.
So don't let them think about their bank account and like their upcoming bills and no. Just like
don't
this
let
is a
them
great
think about if
product.
they can afford it or not.
No, of course not.
You
No.
and that's, I mean, I think it's great because there are certain stores where I know it's super easy to just buy stuff. I mean, that's why Amazon is as successful as it is.
Of course.
Obviously, we love our Prime 2-day shipping.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the entire purchase process is literally a one click. I think there is that button that's like one click purchase or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to, as just, from the consumer side, just being able to see the evolution of that whole, even the checkout experience.
Yeah.
So what have you kind of done with e-commerce brands? Like, I'm interested in maybe some of the projects you guys have worked on specifically to kind of enhance a user experience in that way.
One of our great e-commerce success stories is a local client, company called SporterX that does all the prescription eyewear for all the major brands, Nike and Adidas and everything in between. And they had a very large, complex Magento store that was a little bit of a fire project.
Yeah.
They found us. We helped them to stabilize their infrastructure, recode the pieces that needed, the most help without having to refactor everything that they had just invested on. And we helped them to grow over about 6 years. We worked with their brand just to iteratively grow and enhance their stores. By the end of it, they had, I don't even know how many storefronts for all their different brands, a very complex, custom checkout, integrated with outside, search capabilities. I think we were using Elasticsearch. We helped move them to new hosting platforms. And as part of that, we actually did a whole responsive redesign of their existing store. So without having redeveloped the entire thing, we actually just did like a front-end lift of the whole store, really upgraded their brand and got them, a lot more strength in their user experience without having to do a major redevelopment platform, because they were looking to move to the Magento 2 platform down the road, and they didn't want to like overhaul everything and then overhaul it again.
That's such a big project.
No, of course.
I mean, even here at Sendlane, when we talk about website updates, here comes marketing with all the things we want to change.
Yeah, of
it's
course.
like, okay, but how much do you want to change?
Yeah.
People, I mean, you understand if you've been in website, people that are listening that have been developing websites, like it can be a big project. So I love that you were, with that company for 6 years and kind of scaling with them, it sounds like. So at what point do you think people start running into kind of these issues? Because I mean, it's pretty easy to go on and like open a Shopify store or Magento or wherever you're doing your store. But it sounds like once you really start scaling, that's when you start really running into struggles and issues in the whole setup of everything.
It really depends on what you're doing. I feel like right now the e-commerce platforms are really built around certain products and certain brands that work a certain way, and if you work within those confines, it's kind of like a SaaS solution in a lot of ways. Like you pay them for the service, like Shopify. Everything's pretty plug and play. Maybe you need a developer to help you with some of the extensions and a little bit of the customization, but not too heavy. A lot of the clients that we work with are, outside of those boxes. So their services or products aren't just buy and click. They have more complicated, forms that are associated with
Yeah.
it. They have, legalese, document signing, additional, photographs and stuff that have to, be associated with that, or they have to tie to other user accounts on outside platforms and have to like integrate together.
Yeah.
Or it's like a, content-based service and other things that aren't really within these lines. When it comes to traditional e-commerce, usually those people don't need a company like mine until they get to a certain scale, like you're saying. So,
but if you really need something custom,
Yes.
it sounds like
Well,
that's
of
where
course.
you guys really
Yeah.
come in.
Yes, definitely.
That's awesome. So I also saw on your website, on one of your little fun facts that popped up, it said that one of your first projects was with TaylorMade,
Yeah.
who I know is locally here
Yeah.
in San Diego. So how did that kind of come up? What did you do for them? Because I feel like for anybody, that's a pretty well-known brand.
it's
I mean,
awesome,
I don't
yeah.
golf, but I
Yeah.
know who they are. You
No,
know?
I have a golf club and I don't golf. So they were a really great one. I actually got brought into that through kind of some political blunders at the agency I used to work with. One of the employees had left and was working with TaylorMade, and they were looking for a developer to help support them with their different, e-commerce functions. And so I started consulting. That was right when I had left the agency also. So I started consulting with them, and I did everything from, custom, marketing templates, which in those days it was a lot more painful to create really nice looking email marketing.
Yeah, for sure. What year would this have been?
This would have been like 2009.
Okay, yeah. So 10 years ago, completely.
Yeah, different game.
Yeah, totally different
Yeah.
game. But it sounds like
marketing, landing pages, Facebook apps, and the big part of my job was in helping to keep their Yahoo store running. They
Okay.
were on an old Yahoo platform that was really outdated and really tough to work with, and I just helped to support and keep that running for several years for them.
that's awesome. I had to ask because I love the little fun fact
Yeah.
that popped up. Another, shout out to your website. It's really
Yeah.
entertaining
Thank
to
you
click
so
through.
much.
So when you guys start working with the brand, how do you kind of identify like the key areas that they need to be focused on or that need improvement? Or do they come to you and they're like, hey, X, Y, and Z, we're failing at this. Please help us.
Yeah.
Like it's a disaster. It's
Yeah.
tragic.
It's mostly that's how it comes. They usually have a dumpster fire and they're like, we need help putting this out.
Yeah.
It's nicer when we get to be on the forefront and save them from their digital tragedies, and
Yeah.
we get to like help them create a really great plan and a roadmap for future success.
Yeah.
But that's not usually how our engagements start. Usually they have a problem that they need help with, and then once we tackle that problem, then we help to sit with them, strategize for the future, understand what are their long-term goals, and we help them to get there in iterative steps.
Gotcha. So it sounds like you already said, what you guys do varies
Totally.
from brand to brand
Yeah.
based on what their product is. But overall, is there kind of like a similar situation within each brand? Like, is there kind of one thing that really stands out that people aren't doing well across a variety of brands or people are struggling with right now? Like, is there anything that comes to mind that you're like, yeah, most of the people we work with really struggle with this?
Well, in the one piece that really differentiates us is we're technical consultants, more so like you had said than other agencies. Like we're a stacked team of development experts, and we're all very senior level. And that's where the people that we work with are the companies that have issues with that. Either they don't have strong technical leadership, or they maybe have strong technical leadership, and that leader's decided, I don't want to build a dev team because that's not the core competency of my business.
Yeah.
We want to focus on the sales and the marketing and the
Yeah.
content, and we want somebody else to support us that can scale with us without being a really heavy long-term cost.
Yeah.
Because, when you start to build a development team, it's difficult. It has to be of a certain size for it to
Yeah.
be really successful,
Yeah.
unless you're just like a Shopify store.
Yeah.
And then, you can find a Shopify developer
Totally.
to support you. You're fine. But, these other companies, they have multiple platforms. They have multiple projects, multiple changing initiatives, and
Yeah.
they need somebody that can kind of flex and grow with them more so than like putting it all on one full stack developer and hoping that he knows all of the internet.
Totally. So it's kind of like it's just lacking that tech savvy side, which it feels like a lot of entrepreneurs, have the marketing and sales side down, but not everyone's got the development tech side down. Even here at Sendlane, we've built this development team, but it's not easy.
It's not easy.
I have so much more respect now for the technical side of everything since I've gotten to see everything firsthand. It's like I can't imagine trying to figure out things on your own as an entrepreneur, trying to, build a store or build a brand and try to focus on all the sales and marketing and growing your business, plus deal with all the headaches that come from the technical side of things. It doesn't make sense. So what you guys do, I see a huge need for it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
So I wanted to ask you, let's go back to kind of the overall website, just your basic website. What are some tips for people who are listening? You've obviously done everything from regular websites to building apps and everything in between. But for the average person that's just listening and is like, I want to improve my regular experience on my website or my store, are there a few core things that come to mind that you think are good to focus on as a business owner, specifically for e-commerce?
Yeah, so the storefront, it's like we talked about before, eliminating that barrier to purchase. Anything you can do, whether it's a one-step checkout, one-click buy, anything you can do to really make it so that the user can just purchase easily and remove that resistance is going to be a benefit to you and your store.
Totally.
I think, one of the, especially as there's more and more e-commerce, and more competition that arises, I think one of the key components that we also help our clients with is help to differentiate their story and make sure that that's coming across. Even when it comes to e-commerce, like, if you're selling a certain product, like what makes your product different than, others in your competition? Make sure that is very forefront and very clear and very easy for a user to digest and move forward with, because not bringing that is, then if you don't win on the story front, then it becomes, a closer comparison of like price and all these other things,
totally.
rather than a consumer just being like, I love this brand, I love this product, I want to buy this.
Totally. You're giving them more reasons to stop and second guess everything.
Exactly.
Which is definitely what we don't want.
Yeah.
And I like how you mentioned, I haven't really even focused on this or thought about it too much, but just being able to make that direct purchase even out of social in Instagram or Facebook, it is pretty crazy how easy it is for us to purchase now. And it's going to continue to evolve.
Exactly.
Like we're going into 2020. So like, where do you see all of this going next year? Like, what are some of the bigger game changing things in your specific industry that you really see coming next year in 2020 and even further into the future? Because I'm sure you're already prepping for things to come.
Yeah, of course. In our field, there's a lot that is coming in terms of like scalability and microservices and ensuring that you're having really optimized infrastructure and you're not just paying for a lot of things you're not using. Being able to have your your host be able to scale up when you get really large traffic spikes and scale back down and really only be using the data that you need is a really big focus of what we're working on with Kubernetes and Docker and all these other containerized solutions. When it comes to the e-commerce front, there's going to be a lot more no-code, low-code solutions coming out, which are going to further empower marketing to really be able to own that user experience and really adapt it without as much heavy need on design and development. Whether that's a good thing, we'll find out. But I think that's going to really become to the forefront. And then obviously the continued advancement of AI. We see it now with like chatbots and personalized shopping experiences. Like that's only going to grow to the point of like AI adapting the messaging and the imagery and even how the product might be laid out to you based on your buying tendencies or your trends, and those things are going to start to change more and more because that personalized experience is really what's going to help offset, the brands, what's going to lead to success in the coming years.
Totally. And that personalized experience, it comes up in every single podcast. And I know I say it in every podcast in case you're tired of me saying it.
No, it's important.
But, it keeps coming up, and everybody that comes in here, no matter if you're an agency or an e-commerce owner or a tech company or whatever it is, everybody always comes back to that. And no matter what you guys specialize in or what you're selling, everybody is focused in some form or fashion on creating a personalized experience.
I mean, that's why we love Sendlane. Personalized and automated. Those are the two, and they're more than just buzzwords.
Yeah.
There's tools out there right now to help you implement these solutions.
Yes.
And these are only going to grow in advancement and only going to get more complex. And it's important that you start to leverage them now, because jumping in, 2 years from now, it's going to be a way bigger lift.
Totally. And I mean, we're, all about personalized experience in email marketing,
Right.
but that goes into everything, and especially your website, especially the checkout
e-commerce.
experience
Yes.
for e-commerce. It's huge. I mean, especially
agree.
with, stores going out of business. I hate shopping. People don't like going to stores anymore unless, it's Target.
Right.
But other than that, it's like I think online shopping is just going to be even bigger
Of
in
course.
the coming years. So figuring out how to have that competitive edge,
Yeah.
like you guys.
Or even like one of the things that's really exciting, like we're working with a small local brand, Apogee Piercing, which is a leading piercing shop in Ocean Beach, and we're helping to integrate their online and offline solutions, and that's going to be really important for retailers. Is how do you automate marketing for users that are coming into your store?
Totally.
How do you know what products they want, what they're looking for, and how to send them that engagement at the right time?
Yeah.
That's going to be the success. I mean, retail is not going to die, but
Yeah, there's still a place for it.
But it's going to get
100%.
harder for
Yeah.
sure, and being able to merge these offline, online, augmented reality experiences to help users shop better, shop easier, and shop in-store when they want to,
Yeah,
is
totally.
going to be important.
I think that's a great point, because all of these other things with digital marketing and all of these things you're doing definitely tie in if you have a brick and mortar storefront.
Yeah, of
that's
course.
huge, and I think that is
And how do you balance that? And how do you make it so that your online is working successful to drive to your offline, and vice versa?
Totally.
I think it's a very important thing.
And I think there's a handful of brands that do that really well.
Yes,
but
definitely.
there's also a handful of really large brands right now that are struggling to figure that out and haven't really evolved well,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Have kind of been stuck in the past as far as their website and online shopping experience goes, and that's really apparent. So I think that is really summarizes our conversation, is just being able to continue to evolve and keep up with the trends, the personalized experience, because you have to. If your competitors are doing it, you really do not have a choice.
And making sure you're taking advantage of the tools that are out there for you.
Yeah, totally.
Making sure that you're leveraging and keeping up to date with the latest things
Yep.
that are available help you to stay competitive.
Totally. There's so many different tools like Sendlane.
Of course.
So many different things that you can use and have in your tech stack to make your life easier.
Right.
And then to have someone like you guys, that's really your support system.
Exactly.
That can scale with you. And so you don't have to have those, tragic trash fires, if you will, along the way, because it's bound to happen. So I want to be sure, before I let you go, if there's anything else you want to add to our conversation, or I want to make sure people that are listening know how to get in touch with you guys, or kind of how to start the process if they're interested in working with you.
Awesome.
Because I think a lot of people listening are going to say, yeah, I need someone like this to help me.
Yeah. I mean, what we do is, really focus on empowering marketing, empowering businesses to focus on their core competency and offload that technical expertise to people that, that's what we do.
Yeah.
The best way is definitely, if you are interested in working with us, submit a, form on our website. If you just want to engage with us, find us on LinkedIn. I'm very active on there. You can follow the company, follow myself, Rich Rudzinski. And, I'd love to, meet up anybody that's local. I like to meet up and just engage with, local business owners and entrepreneurs, that want to, talk about, the digital landscape.
Yeah. And I think it's awesome to, even just have have that connection.
Of course.
Network with people. I mean, you and I had that experience a few weeks ago. It's nice to just make those connections. So if you do ever feel the need for that person's area of expertise, you've already developed that connection with that person. And I think that makes it a lot easier for people that are trying to build their businesses, especially entrepreneurs that are kind of figuring it out as they go.
When, all about, building a local, ecosystem and landscape is about connecting.
Totally.
It's not about necessarily if my product and services are going to be the right fit for you, but also about like what you're offering and how you might be able to, be good fits to connect with other people. It's about, building and empowering the local network, because San Diego is a great place for local businesses, for entrepreneurs, and we need to really support that ecosystem.
I agree. And I love that about this podcast as well. It's kind of turned into that.
That's super cool.
you know, everyone knows someone that's been on the podcast or
Right,
mentioned
right.
someone who I have scheduled to come on the
Nice,
podcast.
nice.
So it is cool to see that, like you said, that kind of ecosystem
Yes.
that we have here
Yeah.
of different startups.
It's very special. I think San Diego has its own, you know, unique vibe, and you know, I really love it. And I love the evolution of the startup landscape here, and even just big businesses. There's a lot of big businesses that are coming down here and creating a lot of great opportunities.
Yeah.
And really advancing the digital ecosystem here. So it's really fun to be a part of.
I agree. Well, thank you, Rich, so much for coming on.
Thank
It
you
was
for
awesome
having
to
me.
have you back.
Yeah.
Be sure to check them out. Tragicmedia.com, correct?
Tragic.media.
Tragic.media.
Tragicmedia.com. It all goes to the same place.
You'll get there one way or the
You
other.
will.
So be sure to check them out. They have a really awesome website, and it was just great to have you in the studio.
Super awesome. Thank you so much.
It was nice to have somebody that, you know, is an expert in a completely different area each time someone comes in here.
Yeah,
It's always
for
like
sure.
a fresh topic.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
keeps the podcast exciting for sure.
totally.
I love to listen. So
Thank you for
can't
being
wait
here.
to see who you have next.
Yep, we'll find out. I'm going to keep it rolling.
Awesome.
For you guys listening, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please give us a follow, a like, leave us a review, show us some love wherever you get your podcasts, or if you're watching us on YouTube, please comment, like, subscribe to our channel. It really means a lot to us. And again, a quick reminder, I mentioned it earlier, but we do have a new course out, eCommerce Email Academy, where you'll learn all the ins and outs of email marketing for e-commerce and how to make it the #1 revenue driver for your business. So be sure to check that course out or enroll at ecomemailacademy.com/podcasts. And of course, if you want to give Sendlane a try, check us out, 14-day free trial, no credit card required at sendlane.net/hustle. So thanks so much for listening, and be sure to join us next time on the Marketing Automation Hustle.